Who were the guys when you played that you had to really bring your hard hat to go tackle? I know you were on the winning end of 99% of them, but there had to be maybe one guy that you were like, damn, he runs hard.
Hard.
Yeah.
He was just a big dude. He ran hard too, but like Brandon Jacobs, he's just
That's
a big
exactly
dude.
who we were
But he
talking
was,
about.
but he was,
He was a
also,
defensive end.
he was a big target though too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so I just
yeah.
like me, I
Yeah.
wasn't a great tackler. I just kind of fly in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to miss this guy. All right, I'm here with Beau Allen and Eagles legend, my guy, Brian Dawkins, who's been gracious enough to come join us at the Ponderosa. Well, I was getting to you. Yeah, you had to let me get through my intros. And there's another Eagles legend. So, Doc, man, appreciate you coming out, man.
My pleasure, brother. My pleasure.
It's so good to see you. And we were talking off camera. 2017 was special for me for a lot of reasons, but one of the main ones was having you in the building every day. I can remember game mornings, night before game, Wednesday afternoon, sitting and breaking bread with you, getting to soak in kind of the lessons. And, not every player gets that in the NFL. So appreciate you. That was fun.
Oh, no, it was a blessing, man. I get a chance to come back and share some of the stuff that I saw. That's what I always tried to share. Some of the things that I saw and the things that I had seen that worked and those things that didn't work. And if I can add a little bit to you and give you a little something that could potentially help you out, then I thought that, potentially that would help us get to the big dance, brother.
Were there guys for you when you were a young player that were kind of good vets to you?
Yeah, it was. And to get you to a point. And that's the thing. So when I see something, I want to congratulate you on the thing that I saw. Because I know for me, I know I had somebody in, to your point, that would point those things out. Like it was. So you're playing the game as hard as you can. You don't necessarily know how to watch yourself on film sometimes. I know I didn't. And then you have someone pointing something out. Man, do you know how different that is? I'm like, no, that's different.
Yeah.
And so me being able to then pass that on to you was a blessing. And so one of those individuals from a health standpoint was with Irvin Fryer. Irvin had played in a while in the league for a while. And he said this one phrase to me one time when he was shaving in the restroom when I had walked in. He said, "Rook, if you take care of your body now, it'll take care of you later." And that changed the way that I saw myself as far as conditioning is concerned, what I ate and all those things. But as far as on the field, Troy Vincent was probably one of those guys for me.
Wisconsin guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, watching Troy and the technician that he was at the cornerback position, and people don't understand this or know this, that I was basically the fourth corner when I was drafted with the Philadelphia Eagles. They put me in coverage a whole lot. So I'm learning a whole lot of things, coverage techniques and all of those things from him, but not just that, how to handle yourself as a professional as well. So those are the type of things that he blessed me with.
And I think like the new NFL, the one thing the guys miss out on is that old NFL veteran heavy locker room.
Yeah.
I can remember in St. Louis, I tell this story a lot, being 28, and I was one of the guys, but I'm 28 and I got the closest parking spot to the building, or the second closest. That's not good.
At 28, right?
We need those old NFL vets. Like for me, it was James Hall, it was Leonard Little, Fred Robbins, those guys. And I don't think guys in this game get that as much.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the Eagles team, this year has that a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm just thinking defensive line because that's kind of how our mind operates. But like Sue, Linval Joseph's like an OG. I was talking with Kelsey last week and he told me so much. He's like, dude, I wish you would have played with Linval because he is like, like how JP was in the locker room for us.
Yeah.
And just that's something that like you can't replicate, man. Just those grizzled vets that like have seen it all, but also like those guys are around for so long because they're doing all the right stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that stuff bleeds its way throughout an organization. That's why you end up with good teams.
Yeah. Well, this week's a week you need the vets. We were talking about it. Like, give me your experience in being a leader on a team. And you went down to Jacksonville. Yeah. We were sharing stories about Super Bowl week and all the distractions at hand. I don't think people realize the game is the game, but the week is not your normal week.
The whole dog and pony show.
How did you handle that, especially back in the day when I feel like guys could get into more trouble?
Yeah, well, not very well from taking it way too serious.
You took it too serious.
The thing that I always tell people now, I wish I would have taken time to enjoy some of it.
Yeah.
Like I was literally like, I'm going to do it exactly the way that I would do it in Philadelphia. I'm talking about every detail. I want to do it very similar to how I'd be home. And I did it when I went to Jacksonville. Even though it was back home, I didn't necessarily go see family members or nothing like that. Like I was like, no, yes, hello everyone, but I'm here to play a football game, and this is what I'm gonna do. So I took it way too serious from that point of view. And again, I wish I would have done it differently. Kind of allow yourself to, celebrate some of the things that you've been able to accomplish to that point.
Were you tight before the game at all?
No, I was just like overly anxious, man.
Yeah.
And then, it takes another hour, seems like, to start the game. Once you get on the field, right, you got to sit around and listen to different people saying a whole bunch of different things. And we had all these pageantry and all of these different things. I'm like, man, can we go?
And that's even amplified with the Super Bowl.
Can we kick this thing off?
The halftime's long, the whole thing, the media day. We're going to go over later and ask those guys some questions. So we're part of the problem now.
Yeah.
But, that's a whole deal, man, that, if you're a young player, if they don't prompt you correctly, you roll up to that thing and you're deer in the headlights.
And I think it's different now because of the advent of social media.
Yes.
I think that they're a little bit more understanding that you're going to be asked questions. You're going to have to be able to share your whatever it is that they're going to ask you, right? And be able to make wise use of your words in specific instances. But back in the day, that was different. Like you weren't expected to do all of those things all of the time. It was literally, once you got in the field, it was time to kick the ball off and play.
Yeah, no question. The Eagles now, we were talking about it. It's just a lot of fun being a fan. Like we got to be players, but there's no better organization to pull for after your career. They show you so much love.
Yes.
Even guys like myself or Beau, we see you on the field. That makes sense. There's 60,000 people cheering. We come home and we're like, do we deserve this?
Exactly.
What did we do here?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
Eagles legend.
But that's what being a champion in Philly is about, or being a legend in Philly like you is about. And I just I wonder how much you're enjoying being a fan of this team.
Oh man, I enjoy the growth of seeing where they came from. Same thing. Yeah. First year didn't do. I'm talking about when we were there, you playing, and me as an executive, seeing the struggles of that first year, the things that the conversations that we had during the off season, some tough ones too, some tough, challenging conversations that I was blessed to have with some guys. And then to see this team, how they've been going into this year, and even some of the expressions on the coaches on the sideline.
Yeah.
Last year, the first year, it was very wide-eyed.
Yeah.
It was real, just kind of in over their heads a little bit as far as some of the situations. And now this year, to see what they've been able to do to put these players into the systems on both sides of the ball that brings the best out of every last. Think about it. On the offense and defense, like both sides of the ball, guys are being put in a position to have success, and that's what you want. That's what you want to see. And so I'm a huge fan of that, because I had a defensive coordinator that was great at that. Jim Johnson.
Yeah.
Same thing with Andy. I had seeing him, how he was able to help guys, and we didn't necessarily have the AJ Browns back in the day, but the guys that we did have at the receiver position, he still put them in position to have success. So I'm a huge fan of that.
Well, you brought up Andy Reid, and like everyone's talking about, it's the Kelsey Bowl, but it's kind of the Andy Reid Bowl too. I mean, you're with him in Philly, and he's had so much success in Kansas City. Like, we were hoping we could get some of your insights on him as a coach, and because players love him. He's such a genuine guy, but he kind of shakes up the mold. He's not a hard ass coach, he's not, but he gets so much out of his players. I was wondering if you could kind of maybe talk about that a little bit.
So I got a chance to see Andy kind of grow as a coach as well, obviously, because that was his first gig with the Eagles. But I've seen him grow. And the things that I'm most proud of Andy and being a former player of his is that he's not only did he do that in Philadelphia, he went to the Kansas City Chiefs and did that and then some, right? So he's having success. Right. And in both places, when you talk to players, to your point, we talk about the love that Andy has of allowing us. He would always say this: be yourself, let your personality show.
Yeah.
Be you. Don't try to be anything other than yourself. And I love that about it.
Yeah.
And so that in itself, and then in Kansas City, that they're doing jumping jacks in the backfield.
The spinorama.
Spinorama. So he's allowing guys to have fun at the same time as playing the game that they love to play. So I think all of those things is one of the reasons that, guys love to play for Andy Reid.
Well, it feels like it bleeds.
He's himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is important.
Yeah.
Like you can't fool a group of grown men like that. And I think if I had a buddy who was going to be a head coach in the NFL, like my number one advice to him would be like, you can't fool us.
Right.
So you got to be yourself. And I think Andy kind of wears it. He's Andy Reid, and that's who he is.
He does the burgers.
Young players
he does the burgers.
The State Farm commercial where he's drawing mustaches on people, like that kind of genuine, like he's himself. That bleeds its way down into, and it makes it fun. Like kind of what you're talking about, like how you wish you wouldn't have taken it so seriously. It feels like the Chiefs at times, they're out there, they're having fun, man.
Well, two loose teams. There's two loose teams.
Agree,
playing this game, and I think, interesting to stick here with the our 17 team. I keep making the people ask me about two different teams. They're incomparable. This team's better on paper for sure. But one thing that they've navigated that we didn't have to navigate was being the lead dogs the entire year. Which is a different challenge than sneaking up out of nowhere. Like being expected things of. I think I'm really impressed with how they've worn that and still had fun. They're brash. They're almost cocky.
Yeah, but I like it.
And I like it. We weren't like that.
No.
It's just every team has a different personality.
Absolutely. And the difference with also the team the 2017 that we had so many injuries that year.
Yeah.
So many key guys go down.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the guy that steps in not only plays well, but the people that went down were like always in meetings. They never left the building. You never thought that they were, away from the team, but then they never felt that they were away from the team. They were still adding and giving their valuable time and things that they saw to the next player up. So that was a different set of circumstances for that team to grow under. And we grew into the underdog. Right?
Yeah.
We loved that. Oh my goodness.
Oh, we loved it.
It felt right.
We loved it too.
It felt right. It just felt like that's what we were about. Now this team is like they're the top dogs.
Yeah.
It's different.
But to come out after a bye and play the way they have, like, in the playoffs and stuff like that, like, I don't know if
they're
people
prepared.
Exactly.
They're
like,
prepared.
ready
All
to
you
go.
can do is beat teams in front of you.
That's all you can do. And that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing for me. One of the things that, and I'll get into it. So one of the things that happened that year, 2017, that was a blessing. I don't like to see players get hurt, but a blessing was when Zach got hurt.
Yeah.
When Zach got hurt,
Yep.
then the ball needed to be spread to everywhere, right? Because I remember looking in practice that it would be in 7-on-7 and 7 straight balls would go to Zach.
Yes.
I'm cool. Like he's a great target, right?
Yeah.
But you still have other guys on the field that can get open, right?
Yep.
So I thought that allowed Carlson at the time to spread the ball around.
Yep.
And now he began to see that, okay, now I can do all of these other things. So that actually spread us out and made us a better team.
Yep.
Right. This year, they had not faced any adversity.
Yeah.
Until the end of the season.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for a new young team to go into a season and then you win all the way up into the playoffs and you have no adversity.
Right.
So you have nothing that you have to come back from.
Not getting
you have
tested.
There's no test there.
Yeah.
So one of the blessings, I'm not saying I don't like Kirby to get hurt.
Yeah.
But the point is that the adversity of Dallas going down for a little while, the adversity of then your starter Hurts going down for a little while.
Yeah.
How do you rebound
for a couple weeks too?
Yeah.
Which is a big one.
Right.
So it's an opportunity. That's what adversity is. I mean, it
is.
legitimately is. As a football team and a football player, it is an opportunity for growth if you have the time to grow.
And that's the thing.
And that's the thing about being 10-0 or 9-1. Like you give yourself a cushion to screw up a little bit and learn from it.
Yeah.
Get a little dirty.
And I'm pretty sure in those meetings, when you're losing that game to Dallas, when you're losing, so you can have some very intense conversations in those. Even though you've won 10 games, 9 games, 11 games, we can have some intense conversations.
Boiling up too, things that have been boiling up.
Yeah,
being a teammate, being a player, being a coach, like there are relationships. Like we spend more time with the people in the building than we do our wives and our kids during the season.
Yes.
So we have like 52 relationships. And they're all different, but like sometimes shit is boiling under the surface that you need to lose for people to like let it out and to get through it and to relieve some of the tension between a player and a coach or a room.
So
just
a young guy
air
needs
things
to get
out a little
called
bit,
out.
you know, get that elephant in the room out in the open a little bit. I mean, some of the closest rooms that I've, you know, some of the closest D-line rooms that I've ever been in, like guys will get into it about, you know, certain plays and stuff like that, and you're really hard on each other, and that's kind of what drives the greatness out of each other. You know what I mean? So it's funny to see that comparison. Like you're really close, but
if you
you're
can't
also
argue
like,
with your buddy, you're not that tight.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing being on a football team. You got to have a little confrontation.
You do.
Yeah.
Well, so it's a group of, you know, juiced
Alphas.
up, guys that are just.
But the thing about I always talk about is that it's a lot easier to have tough conversations with people after you lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you winning, it's hard. It's hard because in your mind, you're like, oh,
everything's great. Yeah.
Whatever, man. Like,
and you want to be real as a coach, right? Yeah. Like, because one of my pet peeves with coaches, they always, you know, sometimes they'll try to force their message into a win. And you know, like, just shoot us straight, you know, like, tell us what we're not doing well after a win, tell us what we're doing well after a loss, you know, just be real with us. But you're right, it's really hard to convey that after you win 38-7 or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if Brian Dawkins was a kid right now, he's an Eagles fan, whose jersey are you buying? Like, I know
23.
23. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a 23 jersey on.
Yeah.
Right now.
Big addition.
Listen. I didn't mention him in this as far as that was a blessing in disguise, because it wasn't a blessing in disguise. Because when you lose him, you lose a chess piece.
Yes.
You lose an eraser of mistakes.
Yeah.
You lose a playmaker that didn't recognize. Maybe he already knew. We just didn't know.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, when I was watching the Saints games back in the day, and now you bring him to the Eagles, and now he's able to do all of these things,
right,
and freeing him up, and now everybody got to see what he can actually do.
Yeah.
And that's one of the mistakes a lot of people make. Just because a guy can play man-to-man coverage well, you don't want to always put him in man-to-man because you won't see what other things he can do.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Eric Berry was the same way. Same to me, of a phenomenal safety that could have had so much more, but they kept him in man-to-man all the time.
Right.
So we could never see the versatility.
Right.
But now with CJ, you're able to see his versatility. And again, I love a chess piece. I love a dude that you can move all over the field and he can make plays all over the field. And I love his doggone energy and
his attitude.
Oh my goodness.
I loved it when he was in New Orleans.
Yeah.
He got two people to what was it? Two chain snatches on him or something like that.
I didn't know.
He got a couple people to fight him on the field.
Somebody, who was that?
It was William.
Stole him.
It was Wims. Yeah, it was Wims from the was it the Bears? Yeah, in the playoff game. So if you get multiple people to do that to you, you're a bit of a
doing something right.
I like playing with guys like that. I really do. That was our Timmy Jernigan.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jalen Hurts, you know, we were talking about this, the leap he made in a year. He had kind of a messed up way to enter the league, and, like, you know, all the conversation around him and Carson and what happened at the end of the game in I think 19 in Washington where they pulled him, and there's just all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
What do you think makes him tick? Because we were both saying we'd love to play with this guy because of what he's got between his ears.
And that's the thing. So even when he was not necessarily playing the best on the field as far as his consistency throwing the football,
yes,
because he did struggle.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that he was having this year's success last year and the year before, because he was not.
No.
So he was struggling.
Yeah.
But before he even got to the Eagles, I saw a young man that knew how to handle adversity.
Yeah.
I saw a young man that go from Alabama, gets to playing at Alabama, and keep a mindset that you can keep the microphone in his face. And he never said anything to shame his parents, his name, the Alabama, or anything else.
Yeah.
He always said the right thing. And he didn't say, and I didn't get the sense he was saying it because he knew he had to say the right thing. I got the sense that he was saying those things because that's what he was feeling. And then he goes to Oklahoma, and I think he's second in the Heisman. So that tells me that you have a young man that can fight through adversity.
Yeah.
That can have a coach sit him down in the national championship game and still keep a smile on his face, but not just a smile on his face, to get better the next year.
Yeah.
So every year that he's been challenged, he's gotten better. Think about that. Better. Now you have that same mentality of getting better, taking criticism your way, seeing what they see, getting better, and you bring that attitude to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
seriously.
perfect.
What are they going to challenge you on, right? They're going
Yeah.
to be challenging the dog at you all the time.
Yeah.
On everything.
So if I can take some of the things that they're saying, see what some of the stuff that they're saying, and then get better every year, come on, man.
Yeah.
So that tells you have a mentally tough dude. So you have a mentally tough dude that's able to run the ball effortlessly, right?
Yeah.
Make people miss, does not take big hits all the time. And now he can throw the ball down the field with consistency and accuracy, right?
Beautiful deep ball.
Great. That's a
So
great
to me,
mix.
that's you. Now you have all things working for you. You have a guy that can run the football, throw the football, and he's mentally tough and he's smart, understands the game.
And just his character and the way he handles himself. Like I saw something this week that he's only 24 years old, and I had to read it again. I was like, damn, because like he seems like an old soul, or like, you know, where he's, I don't know him personally, but he seems so, I wish I did. He seems so like unflappable, you know, like he's always kind of like, you know, like he just seems so cool and like calm and like just in control, you know what I mean?
He kept this team humble in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
He talked about how damn good they are.
Right.
And everybody telling him
But
how
not too
great
humble.
they are and the whole thing. But Jalen, after the game at the podium, always took, you know, the proverbial high road, the humble side of the street. You know, we got a lot of stuff we got to work on.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that having that voice, you know, saying it out loud from your leadership is big.
That's huge
on a team like this.
No, it is huge.
Yeah.
Because, and you know, just like I know that the quarterback position, especially the way the NFL is doing things, and the quarterback position will be a leader of your team.
Yes.
Right. And in some cases, that can be a forced thing.
Yes.
And in other cases, that can be, and it should be, an earned thing.
Yes.
Like you earn the respect. Just because you're the quarterback, I'm not going to necessarily follow you.
Yeah.
I need to see some things from you, how you perform, how you handle yourself, how you do interviews, right? And then I'm like, wow, this is someone that,
it's a football player.
Yeah, this is a football player.
Yeah.
I understand. So even though I'm a veteran, what you got to say, Hurts? What you got? I'm pretending to say.
Yeah, I was like, damn, he's tall.
Yeah, so what you got? What you got for us? You know what I'm saying? So now I'm listening to this young cat because he's earned that respect.
Yes, and you could tell, talking to Lane and those guys, you'd have to earn their respect. He was respected right off the bat.
Yeah.
What do you think, man? We were talking about Andy Reid. If you're Andy Reid, step into his mind with 2 weeks. What's the game plan to try to slow down these rushers and still be able to move the ball?
Andy Reid's always been big in the screen game.
So that's
sorry to steal your thunder.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, seriously. I couldn't wait.
Yeah, that's great. So the screens, a vitamin, pop them, and the different levels of screens, different kinds of screens.
Yeah.
To get defensive linemen, you only think you're going to run this way the whole game. Now we're going to have you running this way, that way, back this way. We're going to keep you guessing so that you can't just go one way the whole time. So that would be especially the first 15 plays.
Yeah.
A lot of different personnel.
Yep.
I can maybe even see some hurry up a little bit, to keep them on the field, keep a certain personnel on the field, kind of see if they can get some of those big dudes tired out a little bit. So all those are the type of the things I think will happen, especially the first 15 plays.
I want to talk to you about Tom Brady, man. This is retirement number 2. I don't personally believe that he's done because he left the window open the other day. He was talking to somebody. Yeah. What did he say, Reed? He said that he still loves football. He still wants to play.
Wait a minute. He's not finna pump figures like Brett Favre.
I think it might be
Is he
Brett
pump
Favre
faking? He's
number
pump
2.
faking?
I think it might be Brett Favre number 2. But I look at his status if he walks away. And it's ironic that Patrick's playing this week because he's the guy who probably would have the best chance to ever be in that conversation. At this point with free agency and the way things are, it's so hard to fathom a guy winning 7 rings. But what do you think a guy would have to do to be in that conversation? Like, you played against Tom.
Wow. And to the point, first of all, it's longevity, right?
Yeah.
Being in the right place for that long period of time. And you're right. It's not just Mahomes, though. So it's what they have created around him.
Yes.
He does not need Cheetah anymore. He doesn't have to have that guy, but he can do other things because of his arm talent. I think that with Tom and that system that they had in with the Patriots, some of it early on was probably more coaching.
Yeah.
And then as it went on, it became more about, you see what I'm saying?
He had like 3 careers.
Right.
You know, in the beginning, it was like he was running a system. The defense was winning them games.
Yep.
He was clutch. You know, he did his job.
Yep.
Right. And then there was the prolific Tom, and then there was the older Tom.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's interesting. And sometimes I actually feel bad for Drew. I got to interview him recently. It was like, you know, he definitely that's unfortunate that your backup's Tom Brady. I mean,
yeah, that's major. I was just trying to think what other sport that has happened that
Wally Pipp. I don't know the Wally Pipp thing.
That's the only picture I can think of.
But I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it is the longevity. And part of it was Bill. Like, you think it was kind of 50-50 when you attribute the success they had over that time?
Yeah. Because you mentioned something that people don't necessarily mention all the time, is that defense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like what they did to Marshall Faulk, and the list goes on. The schemes that they came up with to stop these different offenses, to put them in position to not have to score a lot of points, to always be in games, so that then when clutch Tom does throw those couple of balls, you know, he didn't have to throw a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
He just had to throw a couple of them because the defense was balling out so much. And, you know, Seattle, right? Defense basically won the game in that one. So he didn't have to win all of them.
Yeah.
He was clutch.
Yeah.
But to your point, those 3-tiered ways of doing things, it's a longevity thing.
Yeah.
So it has to be someone that has longevity, not just with that person though. And that's what I guess that's also what I was trying to say. Tom didn't have longevity by himself. He had longevity with a system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Longevity with a coach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I don't see, and please don't take it this way, I don't see Big Red retiring anytime soon.
Yeah.
But my point is that longevity is very important.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And I mean, he'd have to coach for a lot longer to catch Tom if you want those two to do it all together. That's a lot of rings, man. If we extend this conversation a little bit, I was asking if you saw LeBron last night because he broke the scoring record. We were both in transit, but the highlights were cool. People always argue about MJ and LeBron, right? Like, and it's always like the old heads. We want Jordan to be the GOAT, and young guys want LeBron to be the GOAT. Trent Dilfer this week was talking about how, I don't know if you heard this, he's not impressed with today's quarterbacks because of the way the defense is played and litigated in today's NFL. How do you compare eras? You know, like, how different was the game really? You know what I mean? Like, people say that a lot, but you played it and you kind of were in the transition, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing about it. It is tough to talk about eras. So I couldn't do some of the things that Night Train Lane could do.
Right.
The game was not, they weren't throwing the ball all over the yard anyway, but the specific things that were not called flags, that were called flags when I was playing. With the understanding of the NFL that the quarterback is not a position that just going to stand 8 yards deep and throw the ball all over the yard.
Right.
I'm not saying there's not guys that can do that, but because there are.
Right.
But that's no longer the model.
Right.
The model is a more mobile individual, not necessarily a runner, but someone that's more mobile to be able to get some things done. So, and then with the continue to push the envelope as far as putting receivers or receiver-like individuals in the lineup, that changes the way that the defense can. You no longer have this run-stuffing middle linebacker necessarily, right?
Yeah.
Because that person would not be able to survive on Sundays. So you need a versatile individual to be able to stop the run, but I need to be able to run and get to the deep middle.
Look at the 49ers.
49ers. That's what I was going to.
With Juszczyk and they're lining up McCaffrey in the slot all the time, and all the creative different things they can do with Kittle and Debo. And I mean, that kind of seems like that's where it's trending.
Now, I'm not saying that has not been the case, because the 49ers have had some pretty good linebackers.
Yeah.
Right? They have had some, So
and they say Fred Warner's like bigger than me.
Yeah.
Like, if he walked through the door right now, he'd be. It's like we ran into Brandon Marshall at the airport yesterday.
He's huge.
I had a picture with him. I'm like,
that's a big cat, man.
He's huge. But like, Fred Warner's a big guy. Dre Greenlaw is a great linebacker.
Right.
But you're right.
So the versatility in those guys. And so some of these things are starting when they're in little leagues and Pop Warner. Like, the positions are more seamless, I would say.
Yeah.
Like you're not, again, if you're a linebacker, you're going to be this tough, gap, A gap to A gap.
Yeah. How about the way running backs are used now? Like, do you think we're going to see a resurgence in the importance of running backs, or do you think it's going to continue to be one of these? Like the Eagles, the Cowboys pay their running backs. They're going to tag Tony Pollard. They pay him and Zeke the combined amount that I think the Eagles have paid running backs for like the last 5 years.
And that's going to be the case going forward. Each team are going to put the emphasis on the things that they think are most important.
Yeah.
And the Eagles, for the longest period of time, even when I was there, Andy, when he came in, it was running back by committee.
Yeah.
Right. It was no longer Deuce. Deuce was the guy, but then Brian Westbrook, and then we had who else we grabbed? Buck Holter, right?
Buck Holter, yeah.
Buck was back there as well. So it was always a running back by committee type of thing.
Yeah.
And so if you look at today's NFL, that's kind of how it is, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a running back by committee thing.
It's kind of how it was for us in 2017.
Yep, same thing. Yep.
Yeah.
JJ, LG.
Yep.
Corey Clement played so well in the Super Bowl, stuff like that.
Who were the guys when you played that you had to really bring your hard hat to go tackle? I know you were on the winning end of 99% of them, but there had to be maybe one guy that you were like, damn, he runs hard.
Hard?
Yeah.
He was just a big dude. He ran hard too, but like Brandon Jacobs,
that's exactly who.
But he was, about. But he was also
defensive end.
He was a big target though too.
Yeah.
I wasn't a great tackler. I just kind of fly in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not gonna miss this guy.
Oh, but he's gonna.
And that's the thing about it. I would rather, and this is gonna sound crazy, I would rather tackle a big dude than a shifty dude.
Yeah,
me too.
I agree.
Any the other week.
You're hanging on a block, and there's a small, like we were talking about Pacheco for the
Chiefs,
and how hard he runs, and how he's just run a million. Like that's a dude that's hard to tackle, and like in between the tackles because you're hanging on a block and he's coming full head of steam, and like
arm tackle's not gonna do it.
You can't really get a full. You can't get great vision.
I put plate in my hand from Marshawn Lynch. He ran through an arm tackle and just exploded my hand. I got a plate in my hand because you can't. You got to bring your whole body on these guys. Josh McDaniels, he's in Vegas. Were you with him in Denver? You were with him in Denver. Okay, because do you think when you see a coach's first time around, do you think that coach is capable of learning and like improving upon their second time? Like sometimes guys don't get second chances. Like Frank Reich got a second chance as a head coach.
Yeah.
I think people realized it was kind of a screwed up deal in Indy.
Todd Bowles got another one.
Did you ever think Josh would get another job?
Yes.
You did? Yeah.
So they've had too much success.
Yeah.
With the Patriots, even though it went as bad as it did with the Broncos, it's like he goes back to the Patriots and they go back to having success again. So I knew at some point somebody was going to be like, well, maybe he's learned some things. And maybe we need to give him another chance. So I knew at some point he was going to get another chance.
Yeah, Josh.
If he did not stay just to take it over from Belichick.
Josh was like, I had him in St. Louis and then I had him in New England. I really liked him. Yeah. He just probably had a lot to learn about how to like deal with players. I think probably one of the hardest parts as a first-time head coach is this stuff, Yeah. What was your experience there?
My experience with Josh was Josh didn't know who Josh was.
He didn't know who he was yet.
He didn't know who he was. It was so much about how he communicated and how he did things was Belichick.
Right.
Yeah. It was some of his dress to, the way he's like his mannerisms. Like if you, and I wasn't even a player with Belichick, and I can see that's not him. And to your point, some of the communication. So, and he tried to micromanage too many things.
Right.
He wanted to have his hand in a lot of things. And here's the crazy thing about it. Like, he's a brilliant dude.
He is.
The stuff that he would give us to prepare for teams would be like right on point.
Yeah.
So it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. I think that he, with the Broncos, he didn't empower. Like, you're the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But you're not the defensive coordinator.
Right.
I'm the defensive coordinator.
Right.
You're the offensive. I'm going to hire you for the offensive coordinator, but you're not the offensive coordinator.
Right.
You're the special teams coach.
Yeah.
But you're not the special teams.
So he was trying to do what they did.
That's why you got to delegate. Delegation.
Yes.
There's like it's like don't try this at home with Bill.
Yeah.
Like even with Bill right now, he's having a hard time doing it.
Yeah.
You can't. Bill Parcells, I heard like he said, I want to buy the groceries and cook dinner. I want personnel and influence. I want the coaching decisions made. Like that's too hard, man. In today's game.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's tough from a mental, from a physical. It drains you, and I can see it. It was really draining at him. And so, hopefully, he knows who he is in this next step, and hopefully, he's empowered those individuals. I'm not saying that he can't give some of the tips that he has, but ultimately, I trust you because I've hired you to do this thing. This is what I've seen. If you can add it to what you do, go ahead. But if not, I trust you.
Yeah.
So that I can concentrate on being the head coach and the offensive coordinator.
Okay. B-Dog. This is cool, man. We were talking about this. You're an author, which is like, people don't associate that with being a football player, right? But
because I'm a jock,
right? We don't. Yeah, we're not that smart.
I can't even read. So.
But you got that next to your name now. How's that feel? And tell me about your book. It's called Blessed by the Best: My Journey to Canton and Beyond. And you can find out more about it, I presume, at briandawkins.com, right, man?
Yes. Now, so first of all, I never thought that I would have author beside my name.
Yeah.
I kind of said that earlier. I thought that authors were for other individuals, people that more astute than myself can author a book. And it really came to fruition that my heart began to change on that subject matter when I was preparing my speech. And I didn't write my speech. I don't know if you know that I always speak from my heart.
Right.
So I just write a couple of names down, a couple of topics down, and I always speak from my heart. And I wanted to put those experiences in a book to allow people, again, to see my journey to Canton and beyond, and some of the things that I'm about to begin to do now as a mindset coach and all of those things, is to once again begin to open up and wake up those things and help other people. I can't do anything, but what I can do is I can help you see what you can't see that I see, and help you then come up with a plan to go after that thing that you would not have gone after, and your family would not then be blessed to then pass on to generations to come, had I not been able to speak into your life, right? So that's the space I'm entering into. So that's what the book is kind of about.
The Weapon X thing, there was, some hardship in that, right?
A lot of hardship in that.
Yeah.
So, Weapon X, first of all, Weapon X was Idiot Man for a long time. I called him Idiot Man.
Idiot Man.
That was Idiot Man.
Like, what's this guy doing?
Yeah, that's idiot. But before he was Idiot Man, I was just an angry kid.
Yeah.
And those were emotions that I would be pouring out on the field. Because at the time I didn't know. I know it now, but at the time I didn't know that I had anger issues.
Yeah.
I would go into fits of rage and things of that nature. And I use anger all the time.
Right.
It wasn't passion. Like, it was literal anger for a long period of time in my life. I just used anger. I was always an angry guy. But I had to then learn to reimagine the way that I talked about that rage, that anger, that anger, that rage was really just information or energy or information, however you want to say it, that I can use it a different way.
Right.
And once I began to understand that, then when I stepped on the field, I wasn't angry. I'm like, I was I'm going to come and get you because I can. So it was a more enlightening. It was a more impassioned way of going after football, instead of me being just angry. I'm gonna punish everything because I'm mad at everything.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And like, knowing you, the way we got to know you, man, like, if I was to put a bunch of adjectives on a whiteboard about you, angry would not be even close to one of them. Like, you're the most humble, chill, awesome dude.
Self-possessed.
Yeah, and like, and can talk to anybody, the whole thing. But we also know you're intense, with a capital INTENSE. And that might be the number one adjective I'm putting on the board next to you. And like, intensity, your intensity, to find out it was once anger. It's just
tremendous.
It makes a lot of sense.
But it sounds like you harnessed it and used it, as fuel, which is
crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember the story that I told you right before the Minnesota game, when I spoke in front of you guys. And the story that I told you was literally something that I was blessed to receive in my study time, my prayer time. That a flood comes in, and a flash flood destroys everything in its path.
Yeah.
But when you have a dam up and it has vents, that same brush of water, you can then decide how far, how wide, and how long to open the vents up. And that vent then all of a sudden powers generators. So now in my mind, wow, I get a chance. I can refocus this energy that I'm feeling in one space and use it in another way. Wow. So I mean, on game day, I can pour out all that frustration, all everything that I can pour. So you feel me? So again, I'm no longer being pulled down by anger.
Yeah.
I'm being uplifted.
That's so
right?
awesome.
Yeah.
So now again, I'm operating from a completely different space. It's no longer this heavy space of anger that I'm operating in. I'm operating from this place of the passion and intensity. I like intensity. The intensity of being able to play this game and do it in such a way as to be one of the best I've ever done it, right? So
and to raise levels around you.
Yes, absolutely. And then, and like I told you, I want to invite people to my party.
Yeah, bring people along on the
so
field.
come on.
Yeah,
So come on. You see,
yeah.
come on.
It's a welcoming intensity. Yeah. If I was your teammate, I would have been over there like, yo, let me get some of this.
Let me get that charger and plug it in here.
And then I was talking to Trot, and he brought up something about a play he made. He made a play in the backfield, and I was like 20 yards downfield. He said he did his axe chop, and as soon as he turned around, I headbutted him.
Yeah.
So that means that I ran 20 yards full speed, and I was like, yeah, man, yeah. I wanted a little bit of that. I wanted some of that energy, like, right? So it's that same thing, man.
Yeah.
Like if you make a play, bro, and I see you make, and I see it's like
I'm gonna assault you.
Yeah, I'm coming.
I'm coming.
You know I'm coming.
Because there is nothing better than the feeling of I made a play and 4 of my brothers jump on my back.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, but and you damn near hurt you sometimes.
Yeah.
But you're like, we are on right now. Like, and you feel my electricity. I'm feeling yours.
Yes.
Like, that's what playing great defense
and
is.
In the back of my mind, I'm about to one up you.
Yeah.
You got this. But watch what I'm about to go do. You see?
Yeah.
So that was always my mentality.
That's so awesome.
Loved it.
How do you get it out of your system now?
Yeah,
because there's it's still in you.
We were joking. We were wondering if you're ever like, at home walking around and you stub your toe or something on a corner and then you black out and you come back and Weapon X, you crawl around on all fours. Like, is there anything?
Do you ever relapse and turn into Weapon X in everyday life?
Like a plane's going off, some plane noises.
Yeah, man, I've studied the brain. I've studied neuroscience and stuff. So that's the direction I'm heading to kind of understand those things. And I will tell you, but I let that dude come out to play, man, when I work out.
Yeah.
I still, when I get in there, Like, I don't necessarily run the way that I used to run. But I still do my sprint things and stuff on the treadmill. But when I lift, bro,
we need it.
Man.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much we need it after football. I wasn't working out enough. And, I wasn't healthy, I just wasn't feeling right. And just getting back in the gym and challenging yourself, mentally and physically, the endorphins from it.
Chris has got to go climb a mountain every year he's got to climb Kilimanjaro every year to get that out.
Yeah. But here's the thing, man, that physical activity, dog, your body, if you just look at it, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but if you just look at it, there's a reason why that when the person's in the hospital, they move them. They try to flip them.
Yeah.
Right? When you lie and you stay stagnant, you begin to atrophy.
Yeah.
So your body punishes you so that, when you don't move, but it rewards you tremendously. When you are doing exercises like that, in that moment, especially when you feel like you've killed it, your body releases the best combination of feel-good chemicals into the system that you can ever receive at any. But it's a combination of a whole bunch of them into your system. So it blesses you, and for all of us, it can help mitigate your anxiety. People who are anxious and you're going through. I'm not saying it's going to cure anything.
It can because I have anxiety and like I've dealt with being some downs, like clinical depression or whatever. But there's a lot of changes going on for us after we leave the game, and I'm telling you, I couldn't right the ship until I got my ass in gear and got back to doing what made us happy. For so many years. We don't have a choice now. It's like how we're wired.
And you would think that would be the case with everybody, but it's not. There are individuals that worked out because they had to.
Yeah.
I worked out because I love to.
Because I love to.
And that's a difference.
Yeah.
I love to work out, and I love the feeling that I feel. I can walk into I can go by a couple of days without lifting, say a week without lifting. And my wife will literally tell me, when the last time you worked out?
Cranky.
Because I start getting cranky, right? And it's like when I go in, I feel one way. When you come out, you feel like, oh, yeah. Again, that's those.
I feel more like me.
That's all those feel good chemicals the body is blessing you with because you blessed it to move.
All right, give me a final score prediction before we let you go, man.
I've been stuck on 35-30, brother.
35-30.
35-30.
Sounds like the over for the people at home who like to play.
I've been stuck on that.
Scoring.
It's for sure. I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Well, good,
it's going to be a high scoring game. But the Eagles are going to pull it out.
Go Birds.
Birds.
I didn't even need to ask the team. So one more time, BrianDawkins.com. The book is Blessed by the Best, My Journey to Canton and Beyond. And Doc, you're an author, Hall of Famer, and somebody we're really proud to call a friend. Appreciate you coming out to hang with us, dude. Really do.
You,
yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.